Okay, here we go. The second round of men's talk at the table, man. I'm rolling with men's talk. It sort of describes what we're trying to do here, man. All things mental health, getting a few different walks of life, and coming up with it, and bringing a topic to the table, just like the last one. So what I'm going to do, mate, we're just going to get cracked into it, man. Get the nerves going, get out, and just if we go around and explain who you are, your name.
Yep.
We're going to start with you, mate.
Yeah. Sweet.
And man, just have we won't go straight into the topic, but at least let everyone know what the topic is you're going to bring to the table tonight, man.
Yeah, so I'm Ethan from a little, I suppose, organisation called Dads and Lads. So me and my young fella film YouTube episodes and put that online. Premise of it is getting out there with a young fella. Something that I used to better my mental health was the outdoors. And from a dark place, went back to the sort of like the bush, and thought I'd share my experiences through filming, social media, stuff like that. And now it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So now we're donating money. So from the shirts that we make and the stickers and the YouTube revenue, donate to different charities, or if we hear a story, we donate. Young fella loves giving fishing rods to other kids, so we go down to Anaconda and they sort of hook us up and buy other kids fishing rods and stuff like that. So
cool.
Try to get everyone else out.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what we're sort of doing. That's
Sweet,
a hobby at the moment. But my topic's going to be comfort zone, because I feel that was something I had to get over. I had to get out of my comfort zone to better my mental health and where I was. So
cool, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. Or
wicked, bro. I like it, man. It's a good topic.
So
yeah, for sure. Danny,
how we going?
Yeah, good, brother. What do you got for us, man? Who are you?
How am I? Lots of things. My name's Danny, and sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right, brother.
Hear me better now?
Yeah.
And a single father of 3 kids. And they've been through a few different things, as we all do. Work for a company now which enjoy getting out of bed every morning. One of them Strive for Zero, and another one Younger Solutions. We do Indigenous engagement and also carbon neutrality. So we're helping a lot of businesses go to the modern world in a more positive way. And the best part about it is giving opportunities for First Nations and Indigenous people. So cool. Really enjoyed doing that. My topic's changed 3 times, as I said before. Originally from resilience, and then probably a little bit of bullying, and then to homelessness.
Homelessness?
Yeah.
Cool.
And being that it's this week, 7th to 13th of August.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so,
cool.
Just with a fellow on the street that kind of touched me.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, I look forward to that. And you're a Bunny supporter as well, man.
Yes, don't hold it against me.
Yeah. That was good, man. Did you go to the NRL last
I was
week?
watching at home.
Oh, did you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool, man. I went to it, I done it sober in a corporate box, man. Fuck.
Don't you get free booze in a corporate box?
Yeah, I know. Everyone thought I was fucking mad, but I was all good, man. It was a wicked day. Enjoyed everything about it, but by the end, because everyone else was obviously sinking piss,
just
like I was going out of fashion. Yeah.
Slowly.
And so after the second game, man, I was fucking out of there, eh? Yeah.
Probably felt better than all of them in the next day.
Yeah, for sure. But we can get into that as well, man, because like it's although I've been reducing my alcohol intake compared to what I used to, now going absolute sober, man. Like, and I shared about it in some of these podcasts as well, because it's massive what it opens up and how much I've suppressed shit, man, and what starts coming up, man, when you decide. And I know you have too, bro?
The clarity,
yeah. So maybe that might be my topic after we get through.
Sounds
through
good.
your guys, man. So what's yours, Luke?
My topic is vulnerability, and vulnerability in all facets of life, and including with our significant others, if we're in a partnership. Something I struggled with my entire life was feeling safe enough to be vulnerable and to be seen as being in my vulnerability. So I feel like it's a good topic to bring up, the importance of it and our experiences with it, and just go from there.
vulnerability in relationships.
Yeah.
What else, man? I know you put a lot of thought into this, Luke.
Well, it's something that over the last few weeks, I was just thinking back and reflecting, something that's come up again, and it was something that I thought I'd dealt with, and it come up, and I just felt myself close, and the repercussions of what happens when I close myself and I'm not actually like truly vulnerable with the other, and what the consequences of that can be. Can be pretty catastrophic at times.
Can't wait to get into that one as well, man. Hey, with the dads and lads, so what you've got? So you've got is it all just you and your son that go camping and things, or you sort of like how would people reach out and sort of get in contact with you?
Through the social medias, like we've taken randoms out, like people we've never ever met before that never sort of been camping, and we've taken them out. Don't have a full drive. Probably met some lifelong mates by doing that. Yep. So yeah, like old guy Podge. His name's Podge. He didn't have a full drive at the time. He was struggling, sort of working away and whatnot. So I was like, fuck, bro, just jump in my car. And he's just like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, just come to my house, jump in, and we'll fuck off down to Arena for the day. Yeah. And yeah, just stuff like that. So yeah, mainly through the socials. But yeah, my wife and my daughter are starting to get involved now because we just went out and bought a caravan. So they're sort of coming in the videos. My wife does all the merch and everything behind the scenes. Yeah. But yeah,
because that's what we need to do more of, eh? Like I guess as fathers, I know you're father of 3, Danny as well, man, and there's nothing better than doing that sort of shit with your kids, eh? Like getting out and
I think like I had work as number one, and that's what was fucking me at one point in time, and now I've switched that to like my kids and my family are number one. I think so many people hide behind like, fuck, I need to make so much money for my family that they forget their family. And then I think a lot of problems come through that. So yeah,
and
that's a whole
that's
point
a male mentality to start with, man.
So
like,
bad.
It's only us males that think, fuck them. You know, I mean, it's naturally in us to be providers and things like that, so it's quite natural to be that masculine. Well, it's not healthy masculine, really, is it?
No,
I mean, there's nothing
toxic.
Yeah, for sure, man. And especially when you start
especially
putting
the employers. What loyalty they got.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah. They don't give a fuck.
Exactly right.
Work somewhere for 10 years and they won't give you a week off. See you later.
Yeah.
And you die and they'll replace you tomorrow, unfortunately.
Correct. Yeah.
Corporate.
There's
corporate.
There's another person, they'll hire someone else.
Yeah.
May send a bunch of flowers to your funeral, that's it.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Yeah, it's true. So it's good that we're obviously putting. I mean, it took me a while. Well, me as a father, I've always, my priority has always been my children, man. I had a dream coming from a sort of shit upbringing and stuff that I knew that I always wanted to be a better father than. Well, I didn't even really know my dad, man, but like, I always knew I wanted to provide and give my kids. But, you know, a lot of that comes with being vulnerable too, man, I think. You know,
100%.
Sort of, approaching it in that sort of way.
I think maybe somewhere along the track we just lost the actual masculine, what it means to be driven and to penetrate the world as a masculine. And we've tied that to success and just maybe the wrong things. It's still, we have the energy to do that, but you can still do that behind raising a family. Yeah. You know, you can still do that with an open heart and not have it about the material. It can be with the spiritual, with love, with whatever it is. Doesn't make it any less
for sure.
powerful, you know.
That's true, yeah. But that's not cool or gangster, is it?
Nah. Yeah, I know, yeah. Well, it's not there to make... I'm trying to think of this book I'm reading at the moment. I'm going to get it for
what
you.
You said that's lost, Luke, is... it's probably bad or judgmental to say it, but you know, a lot of the information or the way they're coming out, you know, I call it the fuckboy generation.
Yeah.
You know, promoting the wrong things.
Yeah.
You
know, and being a father of children, you know, so you got to try and raise your boys to do the right thing. You know, morally, integrity. So.
What's your thoughts on Danny on that? That I feel the tables are starting to turn though. I feel like, in some respect, the book that I'm reading at the moment, man, is The Way of a Superior Man. Have any of you guys read that?
I've read it, yeah.
Fuck, man, it's wicked. You gotta.
David Dider.
David Dider, yeah. A mate of mine, I caught up with a mate from New Zealand. He's over here and we had dinner and he sent it to me, man, and I've been reading it ever since last week, man, and it's fucking unreal. And it's a healthy way of masculinity. Is that how you say it? Yeah. And talks about how, and it's all in favour of families and how you treat a woman and things like that, but also reserving your right as a male and what you provide to the family, and even through sex and semen retention like we spoke about last time, and all sorts of shit, man. It opens up your mind, man. Yeah, but it's fucking definitely, whoever's listening to this, grab it, man. Audible.
I was the opposite. I did semen donation.
Yeah, I know, man.
Funded a trip to Thailand.
Yeah, right.
The thing is, most guys do it without getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a clinic up in Joondalup. Give them a plug, because they do need people doing it. A lot of people are scared, obviously, but I've seen the struggles my brother went through. Couldn't have kids, and then after 10 years of trying to give up, and then naturally had them. So, but you see people struggle.
You hear of that all the time.
All the time, eh?
Yeah.
It's like, we stopped, now we got twins. You're like, what the fuck?
Does that come down to surrendering and being vulnerable and opening up?
Possibly.
Time, maybe the right time.
Yeah.
Out of your comfort zone.
I think the mind is a very powerful thing. And I think when we put so much focus on something and we want something so badly and we think that we are in control of it, very often doesn't go our way. And then when you just relent the control, more often than not, it will just happen naturally the way it's supposed to.
I find that a lot with life in general, man. That we think we're in control.
Yeah.
But we've got no fucking idea, eh?
Yeah.
And the more we just relax into it, man, and
the more you go down the rabbit hole, the more you're like, fuck, no one has any idea.
No.
Like zero people.
no.
Yeah.
I think what I've learned is the less you react and the more you accept.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
There's an inherent wisdom inside each of us. And the wisdom, I don't feel like it's necessarily ours, it's our access to this wisdom. That the mind overrides that access. And I feel like in that surrender, that's when we're able to just relax enough to allow our connection to that inherent wisdom come through. And then we can act from a place of inspiration rather than acting from a place of lack or need or fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. I'm inspired already by this conversation.
We didn't even have cacao this.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. We haven't warmed up. Maybe it was the cacao that mellowed us out last time. Have you guys had cacao?
Nah,
ceremonial one?
Yeah.
No, I want to try it though.
Yeah. Well, Luke does ceremonial sound healing, and cacao he does a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I actually done it for the third time with Luke. It is full moon event, sound healing and cacao, and we were just talking about it before. And the more I relaxed, the first time I done it at his, I sort of walked in there and didn't know anything, didn't know what cacao was. I didn't even know we were going to drink cacao. It was, he said part of the ceremony, you're going to drink what's in the cup. And I'm like, I've been at ayahuasca before, and I'm thinking, is this fucking ayahuasca or something? Like, what have I just got myself into? But yeah, it turns out to be that, just opens up the heart, relaxes a lot. And I mean, Luke could probably explain a little bit more about what it does. But
I mean, it does exactly that. It does facilitate deep relaxation, deep heart opening. And I just feel that the act of moving into ceremony itself is where the magic really is. It's that intent of handing something over to something greater than yourself and asking for guidance. So, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Can you please help me?
Yeah.
It's that humility, I feel, takes us a long way.
And I went to it on Sunday, and after the NRL night, I was sort of like left out, with not drinking and being used to drinking. Normally I'd be the maddest prick in the fucking stadium.
Yeah.
And, to everyone, and people were even coming up to me going, Dave, you all right, mate? Like, fucking, haven't seen you have a drink, but it's... So I went from that, and then going into the sound healing event that Luke put on the following day, I went in there, I felt like I was out of my place, being totally sober and everything, and these emotions are coming up, and things are happening for me. So I went into the ceremony with my intention to sort of just work out, like, fuck, am I doing the right thing? What am I doing it for? And I just had all these sort of questions around it. And and all through just sound healing, man, just natural medicine, man. Like, you don't need fucking anything, but you just go and spend a couple of hours doing one of these events. And I walked away, man. It was sort of like something just come over me and told me, just like, I'm trying to feel through you, David. Now that all these substances that you've, I guess, suppressed these feelings with, normal feelings that we should be feeling as males or as humans, so they've been suppressed for so long, Dave. Now it's time, just let me feel all these things through you, you know. And we went through depression and feeling anxiety, because that's a lot of things that I covered up or hurt, you know, from my childhood, that I covered up. And she was sort of just showing me, I don't know why I called it a she, but it felt like a she was sort of talking to me. And it was going, when these things come up, I want to feel them as part of normal life, and had this conversation. And I walked out just like with clarity about it all, man. And even more, I guess, more strength, man, to just keep fucking going. Yeah, so that was good.
Isn't it ironic though, like when you don't drink, everyone's like, you okay, you okay? Like,
yeah.
I'm actually really good.
Normalised, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm actually really good.
Yeah. But... And that's exactly it, man. And I mean, you sort of always know it with alcohol, but how normalised it's like society's made it, man, is fucking crazy.
But it's like that masculinity thing. It's like, oh, I'm not drinking tonight. It's like, oh, you fucking pussy. It's like, oh, fuck, bro. You're like, okay, I'll drink then. You know, it's sort of like a peer pressure, and especially Aussie.
Yeah,
we drink, you know, like it's ridiculous. It's almost like a culture.
Well, even like I've spoken to people within my own family, and they're like, "Oh yeah, but I don't have a drinking problem, you know. I just thought to wind down at the end of after a hard day's work." And I'm like, well, that there in itself is sort of telling, you know,
it becomes a habit.
You're using something, you're making it okay when, which I don't know. I guess in like everything, if it's balanced, it's okay. I don't really, but the damage it is actually doing to out there, man.
I think it's not balanced though, is it? I feel like the scales have tipped so dangerously over as a collective. Whether we have a few drinks or not, it's the idea around it and that it's safe. And it isn't.
I agree with that too, even to the degree, even a little bit further where, you know, the younger generation, alcohol's expensive, and you know, have a pipe, meth. That's their pre-drinks is having a pipe.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, when does it stop? Yeah.
So they've skipped the whole alcohol phase like we did when we were young, and
gone straight to
on the
pipe.
pipe.
Fucking man.
And that shit's just evil.
Yeah. And it's happening fucking more and more, man.
And being father of kids, that's your biggest fear.
Oh, for sure. What are you on that topic, man? Because and I'm sure we can all relate to this. And you know, I've got close friends and family, man, that have fucking struggled with that addiction, and gone from people that are really honourable, strong, got everything going for them, man. And it has no preferences who the addiction goes to. It can go to fucking anyone. We all know that.
Yeah.
What do you say to your families and your friends and that, man, that are struggling with someone like a loved one that's close to them that's going through the addiction, man? Because it seems near fucking impossible in terms of what help or support. Have you guys got any?
Well, my first thing is it is possible, because I'm sat here, and I was that.
Yeah,
so
right.
At one point, I was doing all of that, and my reasoning was to just crush this empty feeling inside. And after the medication, the alcohol, the drugs, there just had to be a time where I just made the call. If I continued, I'd be dead, or I have to do something drastic. And it took me removing myself completely from the life that I had created for myself or found myself in, to slowly start overcoming it. Discovered plant medicine, discovered people that were giving me options that weren't biased, or because my friends and family, although they loved me, they were used to me being that. And when I started to change, it's a big like, whoa, what's happened? We don't recognize who you are. It's like, well, it's because I'm not drunk. But yeah, took 5 years, but it was the most powerful journey I've ever been on. I'm still on it.
And where do you start, man? I mean, in terms of addiction, I can
Yeah.
talk from a personal point of view, but I was talking ice. But I guess at the end of the day, a drug
Yeah.
addiction is a drug addiction, and I guess
Yeah.
it just seems to be fucking horrible. I guess alcohol's probably, if not fucking worse. I don't know. But
I think they all are, but it depends on which one takes you out the quickest. Which I've seen too many people go to ice, funerals I've been to, and suicides, and
yeah,
It's
it
destructive.
just seems to be
eh?
pretty quick. It's quite, I call it evil.
yeah, for sure.
It is.
I guess there is a part, I know even just with my own addictions, I mean, my two main ones was cocaine and alcohol. But again, if we're talking about comfort as a topic, you really do need to be able to be pretty bold to enter into a completely, totally different identity.
Yeah.
And that's getting out of your comfort zone, man, because I feel like if you're not going to do that, it's really hard to do anything. You've got to get out of your comfort zone and try and enter into a gym. If you're not familiar with a gym or boxing, or, you've got to become out of your comfort zone, become familiar with that, or for, even like with breath work and, sound healing. I mean, plant-based medicine's probably one of the best things I've done in terms of healing it. But that comes with a lot of, coming out of your comfort zone, but also a bit of determination and a bit of overcoming fear and stuff as well. I think also being vulnerable, man, and honest about it as well.
Yeah.
Coming to terms with it, looking yourself in the mirror.
I think when we can't help ourselves, we're dependent on people like yourself that are there to guide and drag us out, because at some point I feel that we are helpless. There's nothing that we can do to escape it, and it's going to take somebody else's sheer force to help us make those first steps. And then after those first steps, when we start coming back to ourselves, we start gaining more clarity, and then we can start to make those decisions again. But we have to find people that are working from the heart, that we can trust, that have enough love and belief in us when we don't have it for ourselves, to be able to pull us out of that dark hole.
Yeah.
Very true, yeah. I mean, I think it's over 7 funerals I've been to, and one of them is no longer here, but basically babysat him for 2 years, made sure, you had to watch him around the clock between the 3 of us, just made sure to get him out of that grasp. And like Luke said, you got to have those people around you that are wanting to help you and do it, because there's a lot that are around that are wanting you to actually keep doing it and keep going. And it's very easy to fall in that trap. So it's tough. Yeah.
The other thing is to just try and, if anyone's listening out there with an addiction, which we all have addictions to some degree. I mean, there's no judgment at all. I guess the idea of this podcast is to just shine light on it, man. One of the biggest things, I guess, again, talking from personal experience, is fucking just keep jumping back on the horse. Like, find the path you want to go on. Yeah. Find the direction you want to go. That's the first thing. And fucking just be...
Can it be motorcycle too?
Hey? Yeah. Fucking oath, mate.
I can't ride horses. Well, that's what I thought was an addiction, like what I thought I had lots of addictions. Obviously never touched meth, but lots of different things, and everything was, last year finding out it's not addictions, it was ADHD, and realising that I was satisfying dopamine levels and other chemicals in your brain that are missing and unbalanced, and now I'm addicted to trying to hack it to my advantage.
Yeah,
hence
right.
Not touching alcohol and a few other hacks that I've put in place. And
So let's talk about that, bro. Did you just work out that you've got ADHD?
No. So obviously one of my children was going through some struggles, and put her in touch with a lady that was brilliant and helped her out a lot. And she wanted to see me because obviously I know the family demographic, and went in there and was having a yarn to her, having a talk, chatting away. And at the end of it, she goes, "Oh, you ever been diagnosed with ADHD, inattentive ADHD?" I'm like, "No." She goes, "You pretty much ticked every box."
Fuck.
And then did a course, I think it was last year, I did a course, Mental Health First Aid. It was brilliant, with a lady up the road. And
Who was that through?
Healthy Minds.
Okay.
Sarah Ruggiero, she's brilliant.
Yeah. Yep.
And then she put me in touch with another lady that was helping a lady that's got ADHD and helps people understand a lot more and hacks and whatnot. And then basically put me in touch with a holistic psychologist that went and started seeing it's a bit of a long process. It's minimum about 6 months.
Yeah.
And just working it out and going to a naturopath and taking certain things that help, because I can't actually take medication for it. So and putting different things in place like cold showers.
Yeah.
Let's say the cold showers are the new cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing them about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. I'll just on that note. Yeah, it is, man. And that's another thing, mate. It fucking
It's unreal.
I'm staying at my. It's fucking unreal. It is.
Before I got a meeting, it's like,
yeah.
it's like, whoop.
Yeah, even so I'm waiting to get into my rental property. I found a house, and I'm staying at my sister's house, and she's got a pool. So every morning, man, I'm just jumping out in the. It's
brilliant.
It's fucking unreal, man. It's and it sounds mad. I mean, I've been doing it for like probably 4 or 5 years now. When I first started doing it, people thought I was completely fucking mad because it was hardly spoke about when I was doing it.
Or scientifically proven or whatever. But the resilience you gain and the mental resilience, the mental health positives, like from the exposure to the cold, not just showers, walking at night in the cold, being mindful, thinking, unloading, mentally, and it's unreal.
Yeah, that's cool, bro. I'm glad it's working out for you, man.
It's getting there.
Yeah,
I'm really interested in that too, because I feel like I tick a lot of those boxes in that sense. That the whole dopamine, grasping at dopamine, and I feel like those addictions, they were all because of a dopamine imbalance for sure.
Like one of the worst ones, it was constant being lateness. And, I could get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, the meeting's at 8:30. I won't start getting ready till 8:15. Because then it's like this big woof, this flush in your brain of, dopamine and shit, you're going to be late, and bang, and you're ready in 5 minutes. And
that makes so much sense.
And, one that I don't think I'll ever kick, I thought the motorcycle, jumping on there, wind therapy, I used to say wind therapy. And, I see the speed sign says 60, I've got to do 150, my brain says. Double get that rush. And
so you still haven't conquered that.
I'm still getting heaps of speeding fines, parking fines. I think my boss at work hates it. You got 2 tickets.
Crazy story, and crazy just hearing that story, because my daughter's going through ADD now.
Yeah, she's got it, my daughter.
And the school picked it up, like my daughter's 10, and the school's just like, you really need to get her tested, and exactly the same result. She's got ADD, and she's like, the psychiatrist who's doing this, like, is there any family history? And she starts rattling off these traits, and it's fucking...
It's usually the fathers it comes from.
It's like tick, tick, and I'm just like, fuck, this is why I've been like this, like this is a massive...
It's like the penny drop.
Shit, penny dropped. I was just like... And then I start looking at my daughter in a different perspective. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, true.
This is crazy.
So hang on a minute. So there's, what is it? ADHD?
Yeah, so my daughter's
is
and this is ADD.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And what's the difference between... So I thought they were the same sort of
just
thing we're talking about.
The hyperactive, and then there's just like a attention span.
Yeah. There's all different.
There's actually a few different ones,
And males and females present very differently as well.
Yeah, okay.
When people think ADD and ADHD, you think, bounce off the walls. Not everyone's like that. Your brain might be doing that. You're not going to be sitting here like this, nice and calm.
My daughter's chilled.
Brain's fucking,
like it's...
I think I've got it.
Yeah,
4 or 5
me too.
words.
I have.
Yeah, me
4
too.
or 5 words in front.
Yeah.
My brain's 4 or 5 words in front. And sometimes I'll skip sentences of doing a story, a paragraph, and my boss, one of my old bosses, that's a sign of intelligence. That's ADHD, apparently.
Yeah.
And I don't use it as an excuse. A lot of people go, you got to excuse it. I'll slack a sign up at work. I'm neurodivergent, but just learning how to hack at different things. Like this week I went and bought a kitchen timer, a digital one. I put it there, and every 25 minutes it'll go off. I get up, walk around quick little lap around the block, 10 deep breaths from my nose.
Yeah, right.
Instead of mouth breathing.
Yep.
That's a new one I've been learning.
Yeah.
Nose breathing. And the productivity coming home wasn't burnt out, wasn't thrashed, and in a really good mood.
Cool, man.
So,
I think it's becoming more popular because the world has gotten way more pigeonholed into you have to be this type of person to fit into society or you don't fit in. And there's millions of people with ADHD that maybe 100 years ago would never know about it because we're not as densely populated. We didn't have phones, we didn't have pornography, we didn't have all of this shit that we have now. And the reason it's all coming out is because we're all stuck in this society that doesn't accommodate for it at all. And I feel like if you imagine us when we were out in the wild, in the bush, like we needed to have ADHD. We need to be on alert. We needed to have that rush. We needed to be able to hear everything all around us at once. So when we're sat in a cafe and we can hear every single conversation happening around us, it's like, fuck, so annoying I can't focus on that one person.
Well, that's what I'm picking up off Danny. Like, I mean, I'm not really, like, I can relate to a lot of that. But I'm not looking at it as a bad thing. I mean, you can look at it as a bad thing.
I used to, but I think this lady told me that she's on Instagram, Anita Carr. She was brilliant, and she goes, there'll be a lot of anger coming up because the constant. I used to cop from my parents. You're late, all sorts of things, and working out why I could wash my clothes and fold them and all that, but I can find them in a basket a lot quicker than I find them in a wardrobe put away neatly. Bundles. I work well on bundles, or what people might look at a scattered mess that might look like real neat and tidy to me, or there's a lot of different things. But
that's okay. It's only that we've been programmed that folded, nice iron clothes are right and messy clothes are wrong. Who gives a fuck?
That's it.
Like that thing, what is it? Make your bed every morning, get up. Actually, if you leave your sheets off, it's actually better because your bed breathes and there's less bacteria. Fuck making my bed. I'm just going to mess it anyway when I come home. So
What about like computer?
Doesn't make my day any better.
I see your handwriting, man.
Yeah.
So I'm like that, man. Everything's got to be pen to paper. Has that got anything to do with it? Compared to, say, because I struggle with, for some reason, when
Digital?
I look at it. Yeah.
So for me, like the cognition, like putting it through that way, and I've got to be able to look at it and like the way I digest it, and to me, it's just a lot more beneficial and positive. And one thing I've learned lately at night is, I've got a pad and a pen near my bed, and I'll just brain dump, read. This thing will get pushed to the side. Less of this, and what these actually do to your brains and the rewiring, and especially with kids. And I was telling a couple of the colleagues at work the other day, every time you get a phone call, it takes 20 minutes for your brain to reset, get back to focusing properly on what you're doing. And I read somewhere, I think with people with ADHD and whatnot, it can be quite disruptive for them during their daily routine. And you'll see more and more now, the younger modern generation, where a lot of people won't have email phone numbers on their emails because they don't want to be disturbed by a phone call. And if you do have their number, you should actually text them first saying, can we schedule a call, or what's the preferred time? Because it's also another polite way of, rather than me just calling you and disrupting you, you could be doing something. It's kind of like saying, well, my time's more important than yours. So learning a lot. I think with the ADHD, it's just a constant learning process. And
that's actually a really good point, man. And I tend to do, well, there's the old generation, or the old thing coming out of me of like, don't text message, call them, because there's something more about a verbal conversation, which I think is more polite, more honourable.
Everything's in context, where you fucking read something, you're like, oh,
it could be out of proportion. But then it's very interesting to then hear what you say, because I like it better if someone goes, hey man, well especially if it's going to be about a lengthy conversation about a particular thing like a podcast, or getting your boys on board. I do like it better. It's like, hey man, when's a good time that I can call you? I
get anxiety. I honestly, even if I get a text message, it's so weird. I feel a vibration in my pocket and I see it's a text message. I just get anxiety whenever somebody tries to call me or message me, and I have no idea why. It's like because of this
there is a lot of the younger generation that do get that anxiety, like calls. They'd rather text or type, and
Keep talking, man. I'm going to put that on.
and I think one of the things that I've learned in the last year or so, which I find quite comical, is the younger generation. I could text, "Hey, everything all right?" and they'll go thumbs up.
Yeah.
And to them, that's a friendly, good response. But if you do that to an older person,
Yeah, they're like, fuck you. Like,
that's like, oh, you're being sarcastic, eh? Like, thumbs up is like, and I've got a couple of people, if I give them a thumbs up, they're like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But my daughter does thumbs up to me and it's all good. Like, why is it offensive? It's not downwards,
not thumbs down,
it's actually upwards. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm guilty of it. Like, sometimes I do that to some people if I'm being sarcastic. It's like,
I think
I'll get a double thumbs up.
Some of the older boys I know,
I've got a problem.
it's like a full stop. It's like, oh, okay. That's the conversation over then.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Thumbs
Double
up
thumbs
emoji.
up.
Don't you like the cold?
Yeah. I just started getting cold, but the heater's not working, boys. There's a few renos going on in the place.
All good.
Yeah, I'll speak to the landlord about it. Yeah, man. So, what else have we got?
Where are we going to next?
What was your topic? I forgot.
Homelessness.
Homelessness.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, man.
Because that's something that you've experienced as well, correct?
Yeah.
And one thing I've got to say was amazing, like, and I've said to a few people, like, exposing your podcast is, when I first met you, I remember years ago and all that, and I wouldn't have ever picked what you've ever gone through in your life. Everything that you've overcome and achieved, it's great. And same as you, Luke, what you've achieved, I would never have picked it. Would have never picked it until I read your story.
Wow.
So
yeah, thanks, man. I guess with my story, well, when I say homelessness, man, I've got to be careful about how far I take that, because there's people out there that are proper fucking homeless,
sleeping rough.
Yeah. Speaking, and I don't ever want to. Go get, because that's serious fucking homelessness. My homelessness was more around where, which is still fucking homelessness, by the way, but it's just like got nowhere to fucking live, and you're sleeping under, like I was sleeping in my car or under the bridge in New Zealand, where I lost my mum, and fucking going from house to house, and because I was a fucking loose cannon, I wasn't really invited to a lot of places either, because I was dealing with my own shit. Especially after I found my mum, dead and stuff. So alcohol, fucking drugs, and, all that sort of stuff. But I guess when I think of homelessness, and then there's been heaps of times I've been kicked out of home. Like, I can go on and on with my stories, but I've had a number of occasions of where I've been homelessness, or nowhere to sleep, nowhere to go. But I guess, there's people out there, and I've got a very soft spot, man, for homeless people. I see all the time. It was only just last week I was with my son, went into a car park, saw a guy laying there, a proper homeless. He's got all his stuff, and all I had in my car was a $50 note. Gone up to it, give it to him, and 9 times out of 10 I'll always find something to give to a homeless person, particularly if my kids are around as well, just to make the point. And I try to teach them that not all of us come from the same upbringings. Not, although, and I sort of say to my son, like, you have got a dad that loves you, cares for you. Not all people have had that in their lives, and it's important that we share this with our children, which I'm sure 100%. You guys all understand 100%. As well. And, but just on that topic of homelessness, man, fuck, I've got a lot of empathy or sympathy for those that are out there, man. And we spoke about it even on the last podcast that we had, because I saw this mother walking down the road, and she had a 4 or 5 year old son, and the mother was completely off her chops on. Well, it looked like ice, like completely. You could tell. And this poor boy's just sort of walking along, man. You just can only understand the fucking environment he comes from, and it touches my heart, because obviously growing up and seeing, a lot of that shit myself, and then I feel him, and then I came back to the podcast that we had that night, and I just had to share it to sort of, it's like, what fucking hope does he have, man? Yeah. He's got every excuse to be one of these homeless people that most people fucking judge and kick a stone at, and, all the rest of it. And
that's the thing, people judge. They judge them.
Yeah.
It's like, who are they to judge? So, he's just going to buy drugs, alcohol. Well, you know what? How do you know? How do you know?
Yeah.
You know, and that's last week. You know, as I said, the guy was at the lights down the street here, down the road, and you know, it's 2023. Are we going backwards or something? Because you know, I checked on the stats. You know, the last census 2021, 9,700 people homeless in WA.
Yeah, right.
Nearly 10,000 people. You know, and approximately 1,200 of them, you know, sleeping rough. That's
It's fucking disgusting as a
we're going backwards or something.
state,
Yeah.
or as a country. You know, I'll
Thousands.
pay 20% tax for fucking kids to be looked after in this country, and everyone to fucking have somewhere to sleep.
Yeah.
Like 25%. You know, to walk around and go, fuck, I'm proud of this. Like, you know, it's
So, you know,
unreal. You know, it just blows me away how humanity hasn't fucking won. Like, as people, how hasn't humanity fucking leapfrogged?
Why are we
place.
paying tax? Oh, sorry, Dan. So why are we paying fucking taxes to people that we don't trust? We're not going to give back to.
I don't get me started.
I know. I was just going to say
That's a big rabbit hole because it's
like-
the fucking game.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
it.
game.
That's how it was
It's
set
this
up.
big monopoly where everyone else owns fucking Pall Mall, and us, we go around the board each fucking year, and one year we land on Pall Mall, and then we keep going around another couple of years, and we're lucky we're on the fucking board.
Yeah, yeah.
These poor
Yeah.
people they're not even allowed on the board to fucking go around it.
Yeah.
And it's just
I had been looking for a rental property.
Yep.
For like the last 6 weeks, to the point of like fucking pulling my hair out, losing my shit over it because I couldn't find anywhere. I was going to houses where there'd be literally 100 people
Hundreds,
lining up to go in.
Yep.
And the
bidding war.
one thing I had, man, is that I had a job. I've got myself. I can talk to people. I can network. I've got people that are in the industry, and I fucking used every single card I had to get a property. But that just led me down to think like, imagine the single mums that are out there. They
Rough.
haven't got a job. They've got 4 kids.
Rough.
Got a fucking abusive fucking. I should go too far because I mean, but there's a whole lot of different other people that don't have the same sort of cards to pull as what I do, man.
Yeah.
And so these stats you're talking about, Dan, like what?
But you're right, we're fucking going back.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago, so we're probably gone over 10,000 now. But it's, I just don't get it. Like there used to be a place down the road here, it was like a furniture shop, secondhand, and they had like a little enclave there. And there's a few people that go up and down there. I've noticed over the years. I've been going to the same coffee shop for more than 10 years, and they disappeared because they, whether some of the businesses complained or whether the council doesn't want them around, but they boarded up, they made them put roller shutters, and they can't sleep in there anymore. So, this guy that was at the lights was shivering the other night, was freezing, and he had a sign, and people just driving past, and so I stopped, and I didn't care. I held the traffic up and said, my son goes, "Oh, Dad, can we buy him some food?" And years ago when they used to sleep under there, we used to cook some extra food and drop it off to them. One thing people don't realise is, homeless people don't want leftovers. They don't want your leftovers. They just want sometimes a chat. They want relationship. Just talk to them, treat them like a person rather than judge them. Treat them.
Yeah.
There's a story there. There's just like we got stories. And this guy started telling me a story. He lost his mum. I think it was 9-12 months ago, and he goes, "I've grown up all my life in Rivervale," and he goes, "And I've lost the house," and and he was doing it hard. He was doing it really rough.
Yeah.
You could tell.
Fuck, man. And
because everyone tap these days, and they got no cash in their wallets, and I just gave whatever cash I had.
Yeah, that's actually a true point because the other day I just had nothing. They were asking me. Normally I'd give whatever I can, But and when I look at my journey, it's been so fucking hard to get to where I am. And you talk about like when I had Bozzy and I was up and down Vic Park and in my fucking element in a successful business world, and you probably didn't notice, but really I was fucking, I was if not fucking, like I was probably worse than what I was now in terms of mentally. I was just suppressing it all and things like that. But I look at my journey, what it's been like the last 4 or 5 years, and I think how fucking hard it is, man. Like to get up in those mornings and tackle depression and tackle your ego and to get out of your comfort zone and try new things. Then you look at people that are homeless and the odds are even more stacked against them. And it's like fucking how do you, I don't know, man. I don't know where, you want to help them.
Yeah.
Is money the answer? I don't know. Well, obviously it helps, but
I feel like it's money in the right hands of the people that can help them.
Yeah.
Like, because then they can be helped.
The money's there.
The money
has
yeah.
to fucking be there.
Yeah.
It's just the care factor almost. Or
It's just in the hands of people that don't give a shit.
it's almost like they want to fuel a little bit of it for fucking the way society runs. It's like, it's just the pursuit. They want the pursuit, us to have this pursuit. Obviously, the more money everyone makes, the more tax, and it's almost like this. They want to fuel the pursuit. So fuck, I don't want to be like that, but we have to have a little bit of that for people to realise don't sort of be like that. And
But I mean, I probably shouldn't say this, but you've got, the mayor, Basil Zemplis. What's he doing for the homeless people?
Yeah.
What's he doing? It's
he
Perth's
wants
gotten
to
worse.
promote. He doesn't want to promote that shit. You know what I mean?
And I'm helping. There's a lady that's gone against him for the October election, Sandy Angie. She rang me this morning because Danny, couldn't get a hold of this guy, and in regards to the homeless, because I know you guys are connected through the Indigenous business, and there's the Wandjina Corporation that they've only got 80 rooms there, and they do a fantastic job on helping people get back on their feet and integrated back into society. You got all the different other organisations, St Bart's and whatnot. There's not enough, and one of the key things I said to her is have a relationship, build relationships with those people, like they're souls, they're people. Like I just drive past them, forget me. I remember there was one guy years and years ago. He was a window washer. A lot of people look down on them. I've given them $50 whenever I can. I used to take one to the pub. You want a beer? Do you want to feed?
Yeah.
Do you want dope?
Yeah.
Let them enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah,
and
fucking oath. I brought one a long neck.
on
I brought one a long neck from Bottle Shop a few weeks back, and I jumped back in the car with my kids, and they're like, "Dad, you can't buy them beer." And I'm like, "Fucking a beer? What, so it doesn't do any harm, man. I'm sure he'd love to just sit there. It was last summer.
For some of them, that numbs the pain.
Yeah,
it numbs the pain.
Yeah, but I'm not suggesting everyone go out there and buy them piss. But I mean, but yeah,
there's a labour shortage in WA, and how haven't we got a program set up to get these people back into jobs? And there's a fucking labour shortage. No one can get anyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, how haven't we got a program?
I'd like to hear your point
Big
on
programs to fucking help people get back from. Right now we've got little dongers, like fuck, there's dongers everywhere in WA. Let's get the second-hand ones, and we've got dongers you can stay, and we want you to be a labourer, and fucking programs, clean up the fucking streets, and there's so many jobs that you could be doing.
Well, it's a repeating cycle too, because some of them, there's quite a few of them. Come winter time, they'll go and commit a crime, so they can go inside and get looked after at least.
Surely we can get some fucking dongers.
Get some food, and
I noticed that.
That's a cycle.
Yeah.
For a lot of them,
Yeah.
You can build these massive, like I'm from like the mining sort of sector. You can build these.
Hang on, if you got a criminal record, can you get on the site?
Nah.
Not on a gold one, that's for sure.
Or vexed.
You can build these big sites out there that house so many people.
Dyslexic or
Fuck, can we not fucking do something like?
I've come across a training organisation. They do. They're helping drillers and train them up, and passing on a lot of really good knowledge. And they said, a lot of these people we'd try and like to work with Indigenous people, and people coming out of jail, especially because the drilling industry is screaming for labour, and they said it's just hard. Like you try and you come across a lot of roadblocks and red tape, and
Is there any avenues? So for those males that are out there sitting on the couch or whatever, listening to this and thinking, "Fuck, I want to make a change, and I wouldn't mind stepping up and and getting out into the mines or anything like that." Like, is there avenues for people that are got out of jail? Or
I think there is. There is, because I remember when I worked up there. I think New Star and that there was. There is. Yeah. And I think my boss on the Indigenous business, he just says, even with the employment and whatnot, and he and I have the same vision that it's about creating opportunities. First Nations, and another friend of mine, John O'Driscoll from the Indigenous Emerging Business Forum, he says, that hopefully one day it's going to be where we don't need all these charities or it's just equal. Everyone, the company I work for, our motto is, creating new stories, walking together. Yeah. That's reconciliation. It's all together, hand in hand. My boss will just say, keep trying. Yeah. Keep trying.
There's no real right answer. There's no one way though, is there? I mean, we're not gonna. I mean, the one thing that come to my mind is that they do that that fundraising event. Well, they used to at Ascot Racecourse for homelessness, to raise money. I don't know if have you heard of that? Oh, okay. Oh, it's like the CEO camp out or something like that.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It'd be interesting to have them on board and talk about this because I mean, surely they've raised
millions.
A significant amount of money.
Yeah,
where to go, well, what are you guys doing it to solve the problem? Because I'm sure they're.
Yeah.
How much of that ends up with the people that need it, though? I mean, I'm not going to name organisations, but a couple of years ago, there used to be a bunch of us. I think it'd be like 100, 120 blokes, jumping on some bikes, and we'd all nominate a family or person, young kid with cancer, and between 120 blokes, we'd raise 16 grand and whatnot, and put it straight in the parents' hand.
Yeah.
There's no red tape, there's no overheads, there's no nothing. It's straight in their hands. It's trying to get that money to those people that need it.
Yeah. I am trying to make FKR into a not-for-profit like charity business, and the idea is to donate, like raise money like that, and to give it to particular charities, like to people to help them get on board. Like the one thing is like gym memberships. I'd love to be able to give to those. We talked about single mums before. Yeah. I'd love to go up to a single mum and go, here's a free gym membership for the year. Yep. Don't worry about it normally costs $1,500, which you'd never fucking get. Just that and that an hour a day to just have that peace of mind away from the kids, everything. And as we all know, like just that hour of exercise a day can completely change someone's life. Having sound healing events, but then there's also people that want to get cards and that to go and work up north or because it's one, probably raising the money, two, then to try and
it's not easy, is it?
And I guess that's what a lot of these people are probably coming across, man. We say don't judge homeless people, but I guess these people that are trying to raise money, I mean, I'm sure that if there's a better way of trying to disperse money and make a more of a better impact, I'm sure that.
Yeah, you'd like to hope it's not dispersing the money, it's dispersing the opportunity. I reckon if you pick someone off the street and gave them somewhere to sleep and said, you want a job? Yeah, fucking oath I want a job. All right, tomorrow you start your job. Then it's more about the opportunity. It's hard. How do you make the opportunity and have these places where you can create the opportunity?
It's only part of it. It's only part of it as well, because you take somebody off the street, they're now conditioned to life on the street.
Yeah.
And it's not even about handing them money, it's about giving them humanity and treating them as an equal
mindset
and giving them hope and giving them the drive to want to do it. Because life might be easier on the street than it is working a job that they don't give a fuck about. So it's like giving them that why. Like we've all got a why of why we want to do things. Like what do they have? They need that why too, so that they've got something to push for when shit hits the fan. And the support network around them and the money to give them the opportunity as well, It has to be like a holistic approach.
Just to throw it on this conversation, but having a successful job and a house and a mortgage and fucking all the worldly things that we think that we've got to achieve in this thing, there's something beautiful about living out in the open and having none of these sorts of I guess barriers, pressures. Pressures. And the only reason I said that because you said some of these people might actually enjoy it, and when we talk about comfort zones, sometimes it's hard to get out of our comfort zones, even though they're not comfortable, but because it's our comfort zone, they're familiar, therefore we're fucking, I guess, addicted to it, or we want it.
And if we think about it, our projection onto homeless people keeps them locked in that without being able to escape it. Because we project that onto them as this is who they are, druggies, alcoholics. So what other choice do they have? They're outnumbered. And if we're living in a world of vibration, maybe we are the fucking crazy ones. And they actually, if they were able to be free in their choices, they wouldn't turn to alcohol, they wouldn't turn to drugs. Maybe
Yeah.
they would be happy living in nature, looking after themselves out of the system. It's what we all want, really,
Yep.
but done the right way without the
I've always said, when people see those people walking up and down, and some people look, they're scattered, or they're on another planet, or this and that, and I always say to them, you know what? They're actually free. And I says, us are the ones that are crazy because we're the ones having to conform, comply, and
it's like Plato's cave.
toe the line.
Yeah.
Mortgage, the bank, all that sort of stuff.
Fuck, that's such a good point, bro.
It is. They're truly free.
Yeah.
No expectations.
They don't give a fuck about what you know. Like,
And you have some of the best conversations with them too.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
It'd be good to feel like that. Like, who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck what you think. Just keep walking. Like.
But the reason they've made those choices is because they've been shut out of people's hearts. So if we were to all open our hearts to these people and like live with compassion and empathy towards homeless people, they wouldn't live up to our expectation of them, of being what we perceive them to be. They'd just be free.
So as a collective, we should be, even if you don't, because there's a fear barrier as well. And obviously I wouldn't, if I'm going to be completely honest, I wouldn't want my 12-year-old daughter or my 8-year-old son just going up randomly talking to homeless people. I just wouldn't. There's no judgment. In fact, I probably wouldn't want them just randomly going up.
To anyone, to be honest. Yeah.
But so sometimes fear is a massive thing, and and fear fucking stops us all from doing shit that we would like to be doing. But I guess you talked about a good thing there, man. And I think as a collective, if we just open our hearts up to them and let them feel that energy, or a smile, or even just a bit of warmth as you're walking past them or something, rather than fucking trying to step away, would probably go a long way, man.
Hugely so.
Yeah.
That's what I believe, man. I'm a man of vibration. Like, I work with sound, I work with vibration, and I believe that if we are all on a high vibration and we focus that vibration towards something, it has no other option other than to rise to that vibration. It's just
I feel that's like empathy, and
Yeah.
And I think one of the things what Luke's saying, with that guy, when 5 times as I was taking off, he just going, "You have a really good night. You have a good night." Like he was wishing me. Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
I should be wishing you, and
Yeah.
how much shit do we want to collect in our house? Shoes and crap, and what's it heading down? People posting bags, shoes, this, that, like.
And none of that's happy. I mean, we're talking about the fucking
It's filling a
business
void.
side.
It's filling a void.
Yeah.
And that void should be filled with something more positive.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Connection.
I'm going to reach out to. I want to get some homeless energy in here, man, and get to the bottom of that. Maybe if we can.
Should get one on the podcast.
Yeah. Like, if we could get a homeless person in here, and then also get the person that's running that charity, the CEO, and have a discussion about fucking homelessness, man.
That would be powerful.
And there's homelessness.
helpful.
There was, say, 10,000 people in Perth homeless, but like
WA,
in WA, and then there's the people that are still living in houses. Like there's that. I mean, that's the core of homelessness. But then there's like people that are scattered between homes and struggling.
And then one that's kind of touched me. I mean, I've touched any other people, but when I was googling for those statistics, it's 2023, and this census was 2021. Suicide deaths reported in WA. It's only reported 389 people.
Yeah.
It's 2023. We've got all the facilities, the help, everything, and it's just.
Well, man, like mental health, fucking hell. Like, I mean, that's. Suicide's what's got me to this place of here. One, experimented numbers of fucking times in my life, and being in that place. But yeah, obviously finding my mum dead through suicide as well was a big fucking trigger to make this happen. And I mean, fuck, that's a conversation in itself, bro. Like suicide. I mean, and when I'm talking about that masculinity, I just feel like as males we're losing ourselves. We're fucking, there's so many things going on, man. Suppressing feelings, like with alcohol, and then the other thing is we spoke about it, and that's in the book as well. Actually, I wanted to mention it, but Luke and I spoke about how it is sound healing events, how there's, 50 odd people that he gets to some of these events, 50, 60. And when I looked around the room, I could probably just get maybe five blokes, all the rest are females. And females are just quite,
Switched on.
They're switched on, man,
They're open. They're open.
Yeah. And I don't know, my quick fix to it is having conversations like this, man, and having males, and we go out then and do our part in society to teach and nurture and open up those conversations to sort of help navigate some of those guys that are going through some hard times.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I see it, like, obviously men, the whole alpha thing and everything, and, probably the most humbling experience you've probably seen it yourself was, maybe that's why they are more connected and on vibrating on a different level is, when you see a baby getting born, it's like, fuck, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Like, wow, like, this person's more superior than me.
Yeah.
How'd that come from you and I can't do it? It's like,
Yeah.
it's, but we're meant to be the superior.
Yeah. Well, that's what
the trauma they go through, like the whole changes everything, and it's just,
Yeah. Well, the superior man, that book I'm talking about, it talks about how we give to each other. Like the feminine need us.
Yep.
But we need to be men. I actually spoke to a sexologist who I'm trying to get on here as well, which she will be getting on. But we had the conversation on the phone just to see if it was a good fit for her to do a podcast with her as well, because it's obviously a great topic that we all need to talk about as well. But and her number one thing that she wanted to mention on this podcast was she just wants men to be men again.
Well, don't you think it's tipped?
Yeah.
Like, women are so masculine, men are feminine. I mean,
and the reason why females are becoming more masculine is because we're becoming more feminine. We're yeah.
The fuckboy generation.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't put a label, but they're out there posting, they're getting their eyebrows threaded, and they got a new bag and new kicks and haircuts, and okay.
Where the fuck does that come from? Where's the fathers allowing that shit to happen, I guess?
Where's the fathers?
Well, you know what my theory is? So what my theory is?
Yeah.
Don't judge me for it, but a lot of single mothers, they've gone through a generation where the mothers have raised them because the fathers have been out there being shit bags or whatever, or not part of the children's life, and so they've watched their mother grow up, and what does she do?
Yeah.
All the stuff that a mother does, and each their own, and it's a modern world, but like you can be an alpha male but not toxic or not, I call them dinosaurs, and in a modern world, like accepting of everyone.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to quickly go around with everyone's topics before we sort of close up, because I sort of feel that we've talked about a lot here tonight.
I feel like we covered all the topics in one conversation.
Yeah.
Well, yours were connected.
Yeah.
I love how these podcasts just come together like that.
Yeah.
And we're going to do more of these, man. I'd love to have you all back on board at some point in time as well, man. But is there anything you want to share in particular, man, about comfort zone, or even maybe your own story, or what?
Oh, it's just probably everything we've touched on. Like, my wife got me out of my comfort zone to get better. So I lost my dad, cancer, suddenly, 3 months from diagnosis, boom, done. So I was like, fucking hell. Just had my daughter young. So I was just like, fucking hell, got no one to turn to. Dad was sort of my rock I've had anxiety my whole life, like sort of like the anxiety, like the what ifs. Fuck, what if that happened? So then I'll fucking think about that, and it's like, fuck, what if that happened? So sort of used to use my dad for that and chill, and then it just fucking exploded when he passed away, and being a brand new dad, and took my missus to see it. And my missus, women spiritual. Women are way more spiritual than men, and I was fucking totally closed off. Never believe in spiritual stuff, and missus used to say that, like, oh, she's seen her pop down the hallway and shit, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that shit doesn't happen. Now, I'm completely opposite.
Yeah.
So she went and seen this medium, and I was like, why are you wasting money doing that shit? Didn't believe in it. Nah, this is shit. She's like, honestly, you got to go see this lady in Fremantle. I think she's passed away now. Her name was Rena. I was like, nah. Took her, and she got her reading on a CD. And she goes, the reading's all about you. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why would it be about me? You went. She goes, oh, I had to go for you to go. And I was like, okay. It took me a year to listen to this CD, and I listened to this CD and I was just like, how this lady knows this shit is like, it's fucking crazy.
Right.
So then it took me another 6 months of my missus hounding me because don't want to get out of my comfort zone. I don't want to fucking deal with that shit. Like, I was bawling my eyes out listening to this CD. I was like, fuck, I'm not doing that, you know, like, so nag, as women do. And then went to this lady, and this lady had her back turned, and your first thing is to pick out these stones in this fucking huge bowl. And the lady had her back turned. She's like, oh, I knew you'd choose the blue ones. And I was like, what the fuck? So, like, Dads and Lads is all blue, like blue's my favourite colour. And I was like, and there was no time limit on seeing this lady. And I was there for like 2.5 hours, and the shit this lady knew, like, probably similar to, like, you open your heart, like, there's a different fucking realm somewhere, because the shit this lady spoke about my dad and this and that. And then, yeah, the next step was going to a doctor and eventually getting myself help. But coming out of your comfort zone.
What was the help for? Like,
oh, just to get, like, I was depressed as fuck and using work to hide it. So there's, all the hours I could do and wanting to get to the top and forgetting my daughter at the time, and my son wasn't born, and forgetting my wife. Like, I was on a 4 days on, 4 days off roster. I never had fucking 4 days off. Just like, nah, they need me, like, work. So, yeah, depressed as fuck over it all, and, still had the anxiety. So I was like, went to the doctors, and obviously the quick thing is a pill. Yeah. On the pills, and eventually got off them, and, pretty much went to the outdoors, where grew up with my old man, so we didn't have any money, so the cheap thing was to go outdoors, like, go catch fucking marron, go fishing. And so, went back to that, because I was like, fuck, that's when I was at my happiest, and there was no anxiety. Like, I was watching the birds, and so if I can share anything, is just get out of your comfort zone and keep trying to get out of your comfort zone. And that's where the YouTube fucking thing came from. So fuck, I put my stories on an episode, and it's like my mates go, "Fuck, why'd you do that, man? That was." What happens if like your boss sees it? Fuck, what he thinks now. Yeah, you know, and you get this confidence from coming out of your comfort zone. You know, like to come here and do a podcast, and like I confidence you can get from just
it's next level.
It's crazy, man. And now, like, I'm the most. Used to be sort of like a shyish guy, and now I'm just the fucking most, you know, like outgoing and confident, and got a couple of apprentices at work. Like, man, I wish I had the confidence you had. It's like, just the power you get from it. I can't explain it. Because
you break through the idea you have of yourself every single time you do that. And as soon as you break through the idea you have of yourself, your limitless potential is there. Yeah. And then you just keep going. I did exactly the same thing. Yeah. I'd never sang in front of anybody. Yeah. I wouldn't sing. I wouldn't use my voice. And I was pushed by a female to do it. And kicking and screaming. Yep. And I was trembling. I sounded like a cat dying in an alleyway the first time I sang in front of people. Yep. But I did it, and I consistently just kept pushing myself. And I wouldn't be here today without that.
And you want to hear this fella sing too, man. Yeah. Fucking amazing. Yeah. Like, I mean, every sound healing thing, you just, not even just the singing, like even his instruments and that he plays as well, man.
Thank you.
Unbelievable, man. And it's not until you get out of your comfort zone, man, and die to your ego, surrender to your ego, that you start discovering these.
That Luke's saying.
Yeah.
Just go both so hand in hand.
All of that.
The one thing I liked about what you're saying, though, man, is just that, like, you found because I find it very important for people that are suffering with anxiety or depression is to, you know, I mean, you can go to pharmaceuticals if you're that desperate, but I think the best thing, man, in my experience, is to find something you're passionate about,
find your thing
that you can dig your teeth into, man. And you obviously were lucky enough to find it in your dads and lads. Man. So
it's been
and like you said with your boss, who gives a fuck about what your mates or your family or your bosses think? If you found something you're passionate about and you're in a shit place, well, what the fuck have you got to lose, man? Just go and do it. Yeah. And you may fail at it, but fucking
probably not.
Yeah.
Because you're passionate about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. People like, people almost wanted the YouTube thing to fail, and so that fucking drives me more now.
Yeah.
So fucking watch this, like the ADD comes out, so okay, no fucking worries.
Isn't it interesting that as soon as we go, because we knew, I feel like as boys, what it was that gave us that. Like for me, it was playing guitar and singing when I was super young. Drugs, alcohol, years later, 20 years down the track. And I've returned back to the passion that I had when I was a kid. And in returning to that passion that I felt as a child, the opportunities just come one after the other, one after the other. And that's YouTube. It's like the next step, next step. And all we have to do is keep following this. It's like an internal guidance system that we have. As soon as we feel passion, that's it, go for it. As soon as you feel it, go for it.
Fuck yeah. I feel like, we're manipulated from the time we're fucking born in this world, man. Yeah. And it's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
It is alcohol, all these distractions, fucking school even, man. I don't know, don't get me started on that. But I also think that's part of the process of suppressing kids and us growing up, man. The freedom you're getting, or even what I'm getting, and what we're all getting. Yeah. And discovering it now as we're men, to be able to have these paths open to you at a younger age, fucking imagine our potentials, man. Imagine if you started music back when you discovered it.
And was consistent with it.
Yeah.
For 20 years,
I guess we always say that though.
But then again, would it have given me the tools, would it have given me the experience, the life experience that I've gained through those years to now be able to do what I do and hold a space of people going through the same thing?
And to appreciate it.
That's given me I could just be a musician. I'm playing pubs, I'm playing music, but I wouldn't swap
you need to
doing
struggle.
what I do now. 100%.
So would you say giving me the option, I don't mind to fail, because I'm like, I've failed all those other times and I'm still... You need to struggle.
It's character building.
Yeah.
So when you're failing, man, you got to get up on your feet, and tell your story too, man.
Yeah.
Fucking give me a call, man. I'd love to put you on a podcast and tell your story. That's what we're about, man. What about you, brother?
Yeah, I think... the connection with both Luke's and getting out of your comfort zone, the vulnerability, you get to that point where you just don't give a fuck, I remember as a young kid getting terrorised by this grade 1 teacher, Mrs. Hunter, it's still fresh in my mind till today. You talk funny, you speak funny. Fuck, I didn't want to talk. Until 11 years old, didn't want to talk. Was fucking petrified, scared of talking. Now, he's down the track. Last year, come out with my own MC business, events, was president of a network group, just, and then till the toughest point of your life where you get, emceeing my best mate's funeral. It's just shit, but getting out of that comfort zone, the vulnerability where you don't give a fuck, the brand is not, what brand you're wearing, this, whatever, it's fucking you. The brand is you. Promoting that, pushing that out. And if people can't see that, or they're blinded by all the other brands, they're not your fucking people. It's having that vulnerability to push out of your comfort zone. I'd say to my kids, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Don't just you sit there. You're never going to grow. And we are constantly growing. You might never be fixed or repaired or healed, but as long as you try and keep striving towards that path, and that you realise that, okay, it's not just about me, there is a higher purpose helping others, whether it's homeless, whether it's someone that's down on their luck, with addiction or whatnot, or it's, finding that purpose that you got to keep going. You just got to keep going, keep pushing.
A big thing that comes up with hearing you talk about that was also just finding that inner you too, man. I mean, until I really, it took ayahuasca for me to discover this, but I had a moment where I was connected with my child as an adult. And I sort of just hugged the little boy and said, "You're okay," because you've got. It brings tears to my eyes even thinking it now. But it was me going down to my child, and just hugged you and said, "Fuck, I've got you now, man. I've got you." And I picked him up and I held him. And ever since then, there was some healing that came with that. And I think as long as I've got him, well, that's how I sort of look at it. As long as we've got each other, man, we'll fuck everyone else. It's hard to do though, obviously, in this day and age to,
Yeah, but I mean, it's a bit like if you were to shut your eyes now and think back, you're 5 years old, you're on the beach, and there's the adult version of you looking at the 5-year-old version. What would you say to him? And the thing that came to my mind was, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would your older version say to your younger version? And you know, start from there, work from there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fucking oath.
Yeah, it's so healing.
Hmm.
Especially for people like us. I don't know your family background, but not having a father around since 3 years old, not having that masculine. I'm one of those people that you were talking about, you know, raised by women, my mum, my grandma, and there was almost resentment in me because when I looked around and I was looking for what does it mean to be a man? Just my whole life, what does it mean to be a man? Until I realized I was like, I'm a fucking man. You know, by default, I've got a dick. I'm a man. In a man's body, I feel like a man. I don't need to keep on searching outside. I need to search within and find those answers within. And when I went back to my 3-year-old self, did healing just like that, it was game changer. It was a game changer. But the gifts I got from being raised by women was a power of vulnerability in different aspects and being in touch with my emotions, where I may not have had that if growing up around like lots of men back then in that day and age, especially knowing what my father was like.
Well, that's why God made a male and a female. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, my mum taught me a lot as well, you know. But yeah, man, I think so. Just on that healing, I mean, we've all just spoke about it there with getting in touch with that child within you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only really experienced that through, you know, ayahuasca, which is probably it's up there in terms of medicine, plant-based medicine.
Yeah.
What other sort of forms of areas can you get to, man, to try and, I mean, because I find that counsellors don't really talk about that sort of shit. It's more about talking about your problems. You know,
what is it they say if like you hear voices or you talk to yourself, you're crazy? Fuck, I talk to myself all the time. Always talking to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
I'm having a conversation with myself every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I think it's crazy if you don't.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, we're lying to think if we don't, man.
You've got like a, I don't know, what do
If
they
you
say?
just got a ringing noise in you.
I've got a, you know, sometimes you got like an alter ego or personality. Oh, fuck, come on, Bruce, what are you doing? Like, you know, with this Batman or whoever it is, or, you know, fuck, come on, what's he going to do? Like, you know, yeah. Pushing through that comfort zone, the vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know, Put that suit on, you know, because everyone's masks, you know, got the masks, but
And that's the tricky thing is like the voice of that thing that wants to keep you down is very close to the voice that wants to lift you up.
Correct.
And it's discernment between the two voices. And usually the quieter one is the one that's trying to pick you up. So it's having to silence that. And I feel like surrender, like we were talking about earlier, is a great place to be able to quieten that. You just surrender to it, give it what it is, and just surrender to it. And then you can start to hear that quiet guidance that's going to lift you and take us to where we need to be.
Yeah, fucking oath. I'm going to end it at that, boys. So thanks for coming on, for starters.
thanks for having us.
And I hope to have you all back at some stage. I'm sure we're going to walk away from here going, fuck, we didn't talk about that. I do it every time, man.
100%.
But you know, we'll stay in touch. In the meantime, man, I'll have your guys' details because part of my website is so that people that have listened to this, they can reach out to you guys, or you know, it's a networking thing for the greater of us. So I'll grab your details, and anyone that's listening want to get in contact with these boys, they'll be up on there. But yeah, mate, I'm so grateful that I'm in this position to run these podcasts, man, and have the likes of you, men, sitting at the table sharing your journeys and topics, all good topics. And yeah, so thanks heaps for being a part of this, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Honour to be here.
Cheers, boys.